Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Modi holds talks with world leaders at the AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. President Murmu witnesses the International Fleet Review at Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh state. India and the UK launch joint task force for development of offshore wind energy. And Ukraine peace talks end in Geneva. Neither side signals progress. Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Estonia's President Alar Karis for bilateral talks in New Delhi on the sidelines of the AI Impact Summit. This meeting followed their first ever bilateral interaction held a year earlier in Paris. The leaders focused on deepening ties in artificial intelligence and digital governance, leveraging Estonia's e-Estonia legacy and India's growing digital public infrastructure. Discussions included expanding cooperation in IT, cybersecurity, trade and investment, as well as innovation. Prime Minister Modi held a bilateral discussion with Croatia's Prime Minister Andrej Plenković on the sidelines of the AI Impact Summit. The two leaders exchanged views on ways to further strengthen relations and advance cooperation in new areas of mutual interest, including AI, information and communication technologies, innovation and clean energy, among others. The two leaders agreed to work for an early implementation of the India-EU FTA. The Prime Minister appreciated deep interest of the people of Croatia in Indology and the Indian traditional systems of yoga and Ayurveda. And Prime Minister Modi held a bilateral discussion with Bhutan's Prime Minister Tshering Tobgay on the margins of the summit as well. He also held a bilateral discussion with the Prime Minister of Kazakhstan, Olhaz Bektanov, on Wednesday on the sidelines of the AI Impact Summit. The two leaders discussed ways to strengthen strategic partnership and deepen bilateral cooperation in all sectors, including trade, defense and security, emerging technologies, and people-to-people ties. The heads of state who have arrived for the AI Impact Summit in New Delhi are holding bilateral meetings with the Prime Minister at Hyderabad House. First one being the Spanish President, who held talks with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The two leaders discussed a wide range of issues aimed at deepening India-Spain partnership, including trade and economy, digital, innovation, health, climate action and education, among others. Prime Minister Modi conveyed his appreciation for Spain's consistent support for strong India-EU relations. The visit of President Sanchez will add further impetus to the ongoing celebrations of India-Spain dual year of culture, tourism and AI. Prime Minister Modi met Finland's Prime Minister Petteri Orpo. They discussed cooperation in sustainability and digitalization, AI research and ethical innovation, and also how Indian talent can strengthen bilateral collaboration. They welcomed the recent conclusion of the India-EU Free Trade Agreement during the 16th India-EU Summit. The two leaders underscore the pivotal role of digitalization and sustainability in driving future economic growth and development. They call for doubling bilateral trade and greater technology collaboration, including co-development of quantum and 6G, renewables, circular economy and defense. They exchanged views on regional and global developments and on greater cooperation in global governance. The leaders look forward to enhancing bilateral engagement, including meeting again at the third India-Nordic Summit later this year. The President of Serbia, Aleksandar Vučić, also met Prime Minister Modi. Writing in an English newspaper, the Serbian leader said that AI Summit places India at the center of the global discourse. Animated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's ambition to democratize access to the benefits of new technology, the summit seeks to ensure that AI is not the preserve of a privileged few. French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in New Delhi on Wednesday after concluding his engagements in Mumbai as part of his official visit to India. He's on a 3-day visit to the country to attend the AI Impact Summit. During a stay in New Delhi, the President is scheduled to hold high-level meetings with Prime Minister Modi and other senior Indian officials. Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva arrived in New Delhi on a state visit. He was received by Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margarita at the airport. During his visit, President Lula will be participating in the AI Impact Summit. Prime Minister Modi will also hold bilateral meetings with President Lula. India and Brazil share a close and multifaceted relationship elevated to a strategic partnership and rooted in a common global vision, shared democratic values and commitment to inclusive growth. President Lula's visit will impart strong momentum to the India-Brazil partnership. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres arrived in New Delhi to attend the AI Impact Summit. He is expected to participate in key sessions and also engage with world leaders on promoting responsible and inclusive use of AI technologies. Notably, the UN believes in using AI for inclusivity. Its website says AI includes a diverse range of technologies that can be defined as self-learning adaptive systems. Google CEO Sundar Pichai is also in New Delhi to attend the AI Impact Summit, on the margins of which he called on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In October last year, Google announced an investment of $15 billion over 5 years to set up an artificial intelligence data center in India's Andhra Pradesh state. On day 3 of the summit, Prime Minister Modi will hold the high-stakes leaders meet and greet, during which he will meet the heads of state, including those from Spain, Finland, Serbia, Croatia, Estonia, Bhutan, Kazakhstan, and among others. The aim is to strengthen bilateral ties, discuss ethical AI governance, and foster technological collaboration. The summit witnesses a gathering of 20 heads of state, global tech CEOs, and policymakers. New and Renewable Energy Minister Prahlad Joshi visited the stall of the International Solar Alliance at the ongoing AI Impact Summit. The minister not only took a tour of the stall that talks about integrating AI with electricity, but also interacted with various startups on the occasion. The summit is witnessing various sessions ranging from governing safe and responsible AI within digital public infrastructure, AI and education, and accelerating India's AI growth. Electronics and Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav attended the opening ceremony of Research Symposium at the Bharat Mandapam. Addressing the gathering, the minister expressed optimism about India's future while also asserting that AI must be safe and solve real-world challenges.
Just want to thank you for coming out in such large numbers at 8:30 in the morning. Yesterday we had about 250,000 people, mostly young. The average age was, I think, below 30, attending the AI Expo and the entire exhibition area. It was phenomenal response. When I interacted with the young minds, I was so surprised at the optimism that most of the young people expressed towards this opportunity which is coming for them. Initially I was a bit apprehensive, but looking at their optimism, I am feeling really hopeful for a totally new future for our country and for the world. We in India are very focused on AI in the edge, AI for use cases, AI for solving real world problems, AI for improving the productivity in the enterprises, AI for population scale problems like healthcare, like agriculture, like climate change. These are the things that we are focused here in India. And this AI Summit brings that opportunity. And as we discuss various technical matters, I will request the topmost brains which are present here to please do bring some solid, concrete suggestions on how to make AI safe. This is a great tool. It should be used for the benefit of humans. It shouldn't be something which really distorts that balance. I really look forward to the suggestions and ideas which will come out of this symposium. Thank you very much for coming to this symposium in such large numbers, and I wish you all the best.
Moving on, India and the UK have launched the India-UK Offshore Wind Task Force in New Delhi, marking a new step in their clean energy partnership. The task force was launched at the Atal Akshay Urja Bhavan in the presence of UK's Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy and India's Minister for New and Renewable Energy Prahlad Joshi, along with British High Commissioner Lindy Cameron and senior officials from both countries. Minister Joshi said India has over 272 gigawatt non-fossil fuel-based electricity generation capacity, including 141 solar and 55 gigawatt wind energy, at the launch of the India-UK Offshore Wind Task Force. The British leader congratulated India on its outstanding progress in the clean energy transition.
India and United Kingdom share a deep and evolving partnership in clean energy. India's clean energy transition is about execution scale. Today, India's installed non-fossil capacity stands at over 272 gigawatt, with a solar at the more than 141 gigawatt and wind at 55 gigawatt. In the ongoing financial year, we added more than 35 gigawatt of solar and 4.61 gigawatt of wind capacity. Also last year, India achieved 50% of its cumulative installed power capacity from non-fossil sources, 5 years ahead of our nationally determined contribution commitment.
I commend India for its outstanding progress, particularly surpassing the milestone, as has been outlined, of achieving 50% of installed electricity capacity from non-fossil sources, 5 years ahead of its 2030 target, clearly now leading much of the global community.
From distant horizons to India's eastern coast, the world's navies converged in Visakhapatnam on Wednesday for Maritime Convergence 2026. President Draupadi Murmu, as the Supreme Commander of the Indian Armed Forces, reviewed the International Fleet Review at Visakhapatnam. 19 warships from 18 friendly foreign countries participated in this event. The aircraft carrier INS Vikrant, along with 3 submarines, INS Shankul, INS Sindhu Kirti and INS Sindhu Kesari, participated in it. Addressing the gathering, President highlighted India's rising maritime stature and the vision of mutual and holistic advancement for security and growth across regions.
This fleet review also takes forward India's vision of Mahasagar, which stands for mutual and historic advancement of security and growth across regions. India's approach to international relations, including the maritime domain, is guided by our ethos of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or the world is one family. This approach reflects the wisdom that global security and growth, sustainability and stability are built through partnerships. This spirit of partnership is the bedrock of an enduring global order.
And still to come on DD India Live. Peru's legislature impeaches the country's interim president. US envoy Steve Witkoff says meaningful progress made in Ukraine peace talks. And Nova, European nations are ratcheting up pressure on social media giants.
On defense dynamics, is Europe witnessing a nuclear shift? From Paris to Berlin, France and Germany talk on shared deterrence, what it means for NATO's strategic future. India's rupees 3.6 lakh crore defense modernization push is the biggest capability leap in decades. We explain why the DAC's green signal for force multipliers like Rafale fighters and P-8I deal could redefine air superiority and maritime dominance. And a worrying surge in cyber espionage targeting defense sector workers, who's behind it and why now. Plus in my take, why India's new defense procurement policy isn't just a reform, it's a strategic reset. For all this and much more, tune in this Wednesday at 8 PM IST only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Peru's ousted President Jose Jerry bid farewell to his cabinet at the gates of the government palace in Lima after Congress voted to remove him from office over a scandal involving undisclosed meetings with a Chinese businessperson. Jerry was seen surrounded by his ministers and supporters as he greeted people outside the palace following the impeachment vote. The Congress removed him with 75 votes in favor, 24 against and 3 abstentions. Lawmakers are expected to elect a new president of the Congress on Wednesday, who will also take over as Peru's interim president. European nations are also building up the pressure on social media companies, responding to a public outcry over child safety fears. Spain on Tuesday ordered prosecutors to investigate Facebook owner Meta, X and TikTok for allegedly spreading AI-generated child sexual images after a similar move in the UK. Ireland also opened a formal probe of X's AI chatbot Grok over its processing of personal data. Many European countries, including France, Spain and Greece, have in recent weeks moved to follow Australia in proposing a social media ban for adolescents amid rising concern over addiction and online abuse. Meta's CEO Mark Zuckerberg is expected to be called as a witness on Wednesday in a closely watched social media addiction trial in the US city of Los Angeles. A 20-year-old woman identified as Kaylee GM in court has sued Facebook and Instagram parent company Meta Platforms and Alphabet's Google, which owns YouTube. A lawyer says that internal company documents show that these companies built machines designed to addict the brains of children. Though Meta Platforms has denied the allegations, stating that it has invested heavily in teen safety over the past years. A verdict against the tech companies could smooth the way for similar cases in state court and shake the industry's long-standing U.S. legal defense against claims of user harm as Google, Meta, TikTok and Snap face thousands of lawsuits in the state of California. The trilateral talks among Russia, Ukraine and the US, which aimed at ending the Russia-Ukraine conflict, have concluded in Geneva without a breakthrough. Although US envoy Steve Witkoff had expressed optimism over the talks, both the Russian and Ukrainian sides indicated that the talks have been quote-unquote difficult. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said that despite the peace talks, differences remain between the two sides. He added that there has been more progress on military front compared to political issues.
So far, the positions differ because the negotiations were not easy. Therefore, my subgroup will show me all these nuances as well. Regarding the military track, I heard progress. On the political track, there was a dialogue and they agreed to continue. I did not hear the same level of progress there as on the military track.
The United States on Tuesday announced the first tranche of Japanese investments under a massive $550 billion commitment linked to a trade deal with President Trump. The commitments of $36 billion for 3 infrastructure projects came as Japan comes under pressure to deliver on its pledges made in 2025 in return for lower U.S. trade tariffs. U.S. President Trump described the announcement as a major trade victory, saying that tariffs played a key role in securing the deal. Japan's Prime Minister Takaichi Sanai said the projects would strengthen the Japan-US alliance. In sports news, India will lock horns with the Netherlands in their last group match in Ahmedabad on Wednesday. With their Super 8 berth sealed, India might rest some of their key players to test bench strength. On the other hand, the Netherlands will strive to end their campaign on a high. DD India Suchitra with her match analysis.
After securing their place in the Super 8 stage of the T20 World Cup, India will face the Netherlands in its final group match in Ahmedabad. Though it is a dead rubber, but no team can be taken lightly. The tournament has already seen some upsets and the Indian team would like to continue its winning streak before the start of the next stage. The men in blue might test their bench strength by resting some of the key players including Jasprit Bumrah. On the other hand, the Netherlands are known to cause upsets. In the 2022 edition, they defeated South Africa and knocked them out of the tournament. In the first match of this edition, the Netherlands put Pakistan in trouble, losing the match by a narrow margin. They won against Namibia but lost against the USA. They will strive for a better performance against India. The two teams faced each other in 2022, which India won by 56 runs in Sydney. India have played 8 T20 matches at the Narendra Modi Stadium, winning 6 and losing 2.
This match against Netherlands is going to be very important for Team India. They would like to test their bench strength. Plus, they have to play their Super 8 match against South Africa in this stadium, and the final can also be played here. So they would like to utilize this match to read the conditions better. And once again, the focus will be on world's #1 T20 batter Abhishek Sharma, who has not yet clicked in this tournament. With camera person SP Dubey, this is Suchitra reporting for DD India in Ahmedabad.
World #1 Carlos Alcaraz returned to action with a straight sets win to start his ATP 500 Qatar Open campaign off with a bang in Doha. Alcaraz returned to the court for the first time since January when he won the Australian Open title for the first time. Alcaraz, who became the youngest man to complete a career Grand Slam with his victory in Melbourne, saw off the 30th ranked Arthur Rinderkirch in the 2 closely contested sets. The Spaniard will face another Frenchman and 60th ranked Valentin Roya in round 2 tonight. Zimbabwe entered the Super 8 stage of the T20 World Cup after their crucial match against Ireland was washed out because of rain in Palakkale in Sri Lanka. The result also eliminated former champions Australia and Ireland from the tournament. Both teams were awarded 1 point each. The shared points took Zimbabwe to 5, enough to secure a Super 8 berth. They'll face India in their opening Super 8 match on February 26th in Chennai. Zimbabwe, who failed to qualify for the 2024 editions, became the 7th team to get a ticket to the Super 8, completing Group G1 comprising India, South Africa and the West Indies. Zimbabwe will play their final group match against co-hosts Sri Lanka on the 19th. And that's all for this edition of DD India Live. You can get the latest news on the DD India mobile app on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code to download it. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.